What's going on, YouTube? We are back here for another reaction video. Got myself, got Alma. We're gonna be reacting to 3 true lockdown stories. This is with another YouTuber, so the original video will be down in the description in case if you guys want to watch the original video. But we'll react to 3 true lockdown stories. Let's get into the video. That's why it looks so nice. Fast forwarding.
One of the most terrifying days of my life started just like any other. I had just gotten to history class and was pulling my textbooks out of my backpack. I had barely cracked open my book when a voice came through on the intercom.
One good note is I'm super fortunate. I never went into lockdowns. Like, we had lockdown practices just to practice, but I never been into that situation. It was like a real one. So I'm fortunate. That never happened.
You are fortunate. I was unfortunate. I had one real lockdown. It was in high school. I was in gym, and it was towards the end of class, and we were stuck there because there was a fugitive on the loose in nearby apartments. So there was a standown.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard what the outcome was, but that is why we're locked down.
How long?
Oh gosh, I think it was 3 hours.
Was this like after high school was done?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
It was during 5th period.
How many periods did you guys have? Because we had block schedules, like 80-minute long block schedules.
We had 7 in all, so it was towards the end of the day, but it wasn't the end of the day. So we were there until like 5.
5?
Yeah.
Oof.
We were stuck. It was scary.
Yeah.
And the fugitive that was in the nearby apartments was wanted for murder.
Ooh, sheesh.
Yeah. That's my lockdown story. It's pretty creepy, pretty crazy.
My man's in prison by now. No shot.
I never like looked into what happened after, because that was like traumatizing to me, and I'm like, I guess I forgot about it until now because I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I was fucking on lockdown. I remember that now.
Wow.
So, like, just like it happened.
That's crazy. So
everybody was like texting their parents.
Oh, did you guys have phones back then, like smartphones, or?
It was Nokia phones, but yeah, we did have some cell phones.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Some flip phones, some Nokias. Yeah, I think it was just at the peak. It was like 2004, 2005, I think.
I was in kindergarten during then.
Oh shit! You was a baby.
I was a baby.
My god!
I was probably by accidentally pooping in my pants.
I forget. Sometimes I forget. My age. I'm like, damn, that was that long ago.
Yeah.
Because I graduated in 2006. So.
2006. I graduated in 2017. What? Yo, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the video.
All right.
It was Mr. Darcy, the school principal. He told us that the entire school was on lockdown and that we needed to barricade ourselves in our classrooms. I could easily tell through the fear in his voice that this was not a drill.
Zombies, okay.
All of us looked at each other in silence and shock for a moment before we jumped into action. Our teacher, Mr. McGregor, raced to the door and locked it. My friend Ella turned off the lights. A few of the boys worked together to push desks and chairs in front of the classroom door so no one could get in. When we were done, we huddled in the back of the room, crouched on the floor.
They carried the chairs?
Terrified. We had no idea who was out there or if they wanted to kill us. I texted a few of my friends in other classrooms to see if they were okay. No one had any updates about what was going on. Then Mr. Darcy got a shocking message from one of the receptionists in the front office. He explained to us that 2 convicts had escaped the local prison and had entered the school to hide. They were in prison for some pretty horrific crimes, so there was no telling what they may do.
What the hell?
Worst of all, they were both armed with a knife.
Of course.
How the hell
were
would
all
they get knives
afraid
though?
for our
Like, where do they
lives.
get the knives
All we
from?
could do was remain as quiet as we could and pray that we would
Unless
make
it was a
home
shank.
today unharmed.
They wouldn't get
minutes
unharmed
ticked
because they
by,
locked the
and
doors,
still
they
nothing
barricaded
happened.
it.
Then, to our complete
Unless they
horror,
actually
we
forcefully.
heard screaming from the hallway. It was a girl's voice that I didn't recognize. She was pleading with somebody and begging them to let her go. I wanted to cover my ears, afraid of what I might hear next. Then there was a loud bang, and then silence. About 30 minutes later, Mr. Darcy came back on the intercom to tell everyone that the school had been secured and it was safe to leave the school and head home. Lots of parents
What the
had
hell?
already found out about the situation and were in the parking
I'm guessing the
lot waiting
police
to pick
was
up
the
their
gunshot.
kids. We later learned on the news that the convicts were threatening a girl who was hiding in the bathroom. When the SWAT team caught up with them,
there you go.
one of the convicts dropped his weapon and backed away from the girl, but the other refused. He was shot and taken to the hospital.
There you go.
And the other convict was handcuffed and taken back into custody. Luckily, no one was injured that day, but none of us, especially the girl in the bathroom, will forget what happened.
That girl will probably have PTSD.
She's scarred for life, I can tell you that.
One day I was sitting in
Like being
calculus class
cornered by
trying
a
to endure
convict
another
with
boring
a
lecture.
knife? Like
Yeah.
that
It was
shit.
the last period before
Mm-mm.
Christmas break, and I could barely wait for the bell to ring so I could go home and relax after a long, stressful semester. I was zoned out as I daydreamed about my plans for Christmas break, when all of a sudden, I was brought back to the present moment by some loud bangs in the hallway.
Oh shit.
At first, we thought there were fireworks. Maybe the seniors were doing their senior prank early, but when we heard awful screams coming from outside our classroom door, the realization set in that the bangs were gunshots.
No shot.
Our teacher, Mrs. Young, locked the door and turned off the lights. We all huddled in a corner of the room that was not visible from the window, just as we had practiced during drills.
Did they lock the doors?
For a while, we could hear
Yeah.
a lot of yelling and hustling and bustling from outside the door, as well as a few more gunshots.
They brought guns?
But after a few minutes, there was only silence.
Yeah, this one was the shooting.
My heart was beating so hard and fast that I was sure that everyone
I
around me
wonder
could
which
hear
one this
it.
is about.
But they only sat quietly, terror visible in their eyes. I thought about texting my mom to tell her I loved her, but I was afraid to move a single inch. Then, from outside the hallway, we could hear a person screaming and banging on classroom doors. He claimed he had a gun and wasn't afraid to use it. After getting no
shit.
response from that classroom, he moved on down the line and began banging on the next door. We then heard
I would
more
have
gunshots
barricaded
ring
up.
out.
I would have stacked
This
them
time
desks
closer to
against
our
the
classroom.
door.
One of the girls began
Yeah.
to cry, but Mrs. Young quickly shushed her. We all looked around at each other, trying to figure out what to do. We were like sitting
Their
ducks,
silence saved
with
their
nowhere to
fucking
run.
lives. I can tell you that.
I couldn't believe this. Here I was only in high school, and my life might be coming to an end in a few short moments. I couldn't help but think of all the things I hadn't gotten a chance to do yet. I had never driven a car,
I go to
traveled
prom.
outside the country, or even been out on a date. As the bangs and yelling grew closer and closer, I closed my eyes and prayed that God would spare my life and that the authorities would capture whoever the gunman was before he hurt anyone else. Maybe with the lights out in the classroom, the gunman would think that there was no one in the classroom. I could hear the gunman reach the classroom next to us. There was more screaming and another round of gunshots. Our classroom was next. I held my breath in anticipation, and Mrs. Young gestured for us to get down. We squeezed against the wall and flattened ourselves against the floor. Even though I knew what was coming, I couldn't help but jump when I heard the gunman banging on our doors so hard that I thought for sure it would break down. The gunman yelled for us to open the door, but no one dared to move a muscle. He let out a repulsive laugh, and all of a sudden I recognized the voice. It was a kid named Toby. I had a few classes with him throughout the years. He was a pretty quiet kid who sometimes got made fun of for his weight. Was this his way of getting revenge? Suddenly, bullets came flying in through the door, raining down in our classroom. I watched one go right through Mrs. Young's computer screen. Others smacked into the wall. I and a few of my classmates couldn't help but scream in terror. Due to the angle, the bullets luckily couldn't reach us. Toby moved away from our classroom door and made his way down the hallway. We all looked around, shocked to find that everyone was completely unhurt. Suddenly, we heard more yelling in the hallways, but not from Toby. It was the police instructing Toby to drop his weapon. There was one final gunshot, and then silence.
I got shot.
After an hour of horror,
killed
we
himself.
were finally escorted out of our classroom and out of the school.
I'm sorry, probably shouldn't say that on the
We
live.
found out that Toby had been shot by police,
Oh, there you
but
go.
that the other 5 students that had been shot were expected to survive their injuries. To this day, no one knows for sure what made Toby do such a terrible thing.
You got bullied, that's why.
I was in my
Yeah,
first
he had
year
a
of teaching at the
snap.
local high school when I had one of the scariest experiences of my life. It was my planning period, so I was alone in my classroom grading papers while sneaking in a bit of lunch.
Wow, savage.
Kids in lunch A were making their way to the cafeteria, so there was a lot of noise in the hallway. All of a sudden, I heard 3 sharp bangs and then tons of screaming. I received a notification on my phone that there was an active shooter in the building. I sprinted to the door and flung it open. There was mass chaos in the hallways. Papers were flying and students were running in all different directions. I began yelling at them to come into my classroom. One student after another entered the classroom until I probably had more than 30 kids huddled in the back. Once I didn't see anyone in the hallway, I closed the door and locked it.
There you go.
I then shut off the lights and directed a few of the male students nearby to help me barricade
There
the door.
you go. There
I
you
then
go.
joined the rest of the students at the back of the room and told everyone to stay as quiet
There you go.
as
Barricade the
possible.
door.
The minutes ticked by and there was nothing but silence. Surely the police were here by now. I tried my best to keep the students calm as we waited. I then got another notification on my phone from the school administration. They had been able to get a description of the alleged shooter. It was a male student with a black hoodie with a skull on it. He was wearing bright red Nike sneakers.
Oh no, don't tell me they're in the classroom.
I was about to read the description aloud to the students to see if anyone had seen someone today who fit that description. Maybe we could pass the information on to the police. But just as I opened my mouth to speak, I noticed something that caused a chill to go down my spine. There, in the corner of my classroom, was a dark-haired boy with a black hoodie. The sweatshirt had a gray skeleton emblem on the front, and he was wearing bright red shoes. He appeared somber and sat away from the other students, just staring at the ground. My heart was pounding, and I was terrified, but I couldn't let it show that I knew the alleged shooter was in the classroom, so I tried to not let my expression change. I simply grabbed my phone and sent a quick text to the principal, letting them know the situation. In only minutes, we heard loud banging at the door. It was the SWAT team. They told us to slowly exit the classroom with our hands raised. We unbarricaded the door and did as we were told. The boy who fit the description attempted to run, but was quickly detained by an officer.
There you go.
It was later reported that the boy had mental health problems and went to a treatment center. Luckily, the 3 shots he fired didn't make contact with anyone. I still think about the shooter and hope that he got the help he needed. Have you ever been in a situation like this?
Nothing bad happened.
Drop a comment and
That's
don't forget
good.
to like and subscribe. For
Oh
more
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
very good.
Sleep
I don't
tight.
think any of them died in these stories. We had only 5 injuries.
Yeah, we got the prison escape. That was no injuries. And then we got the boys' revenge. That was 5 injuries.
Yeah, and then this one uninjured.
Yo, that teacher's not savage, but like clutched up.
Shit, I don't know how I would keep my composure knowing that the shooter was in the classroom with me and you know, a total of 30 other children.
No shot. There you guys have it. Leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. If you guys haven't done so, check out Alma's channel, Twitch channel. Make sure you guys go follow on Twitter, stuff like that. If you guys haven't done so, turn on bell notifications. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.